Hello everyone, it's Robin the Delta Crafter, and I want to thank you for joining me for another video on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about quick and easy ways to create cards using a coordinating paper suite. So the paper suite that we're going to be using today is from Spellbinders, and it's called the Floral Friendship Paper Suite. So what a paper suite is, it is a set of coordinating die cuts, papers, and frames that could easily be mixed and matched to create cards. So the first thing that I'm showing you is the Friendship Florals Sentiments. This is 154 pieces of pre-printed die cut sentiments, some of which are hot foiled, which makes it easy to take the elegance of your card up a notch. These sentiments come in small, they come in larger shapes, they come with some floral designs all over them, they include little tags, and just the gambit. Like I said, there's 154 pieces in this pack of sentiments, and I think that's an amazing amount that which would allow you to have lots of creativity in the amounts of the kind of sentiments that you want to use on your cards. Next up, we have the Floral Friendship 180 piece pre-printed die cuts. And like the name suggests, many of these die cuts are different types of florals. You can see that the color palette that's used for this suite is more in the muted tones. So you have some softer florals here and greenery. You also have some birds and other wildlife elements that can be added and used and with this suite. And some of these die cuts also have that gold foiling touch on them, so that style element can be carried on through the cards. Next, we have the Floral Friendship Gemstones, and these are an iridescent and give a lot of sparkle to the card. And lastly, we have the Floral Friendship Paper Pad. This is a 6x6 paper pad. There are 40 sheets and with 10 different designs. About 5 of the designs have hot foiling on them as well. So you can see each layer that you add to your cards can have that gold foiling continue throughout your cards. So let's go ahead and make a couple of cards. So when I'm using a suite of products like this, I also like to bring in some solid colored cardstocks that coordinate with the color palette that's in the suite of products. I also like to bring in some basic dies. Many of us have some form of these in our stash, and I use those to help provide a little bit of differentiation on my cards. So I've gone through the paper pad and I've chosen 3 different pieces of paper that have some designs and some elements on them that I want to work with today. So we're going to be making 3 different cards. I've gone ahead and trimmed those down to be a little bit smaller than an A2 card. So they're actually like 5 1/4 by 4 inches in size. And when I trim them down, I've made sure to leave the my desired elements on the floral patterns on the card in a place, trim it down in a way that leaves those available on the card for me to work with. So I matched up my solid colors of cardstock with the different cards that I want to use. And now I'm going to bring in these nested arches dies from scrapbook.com. And I'm going to match those up with some of this colored cardstock that I'm going to use to provide a little bit of separation between the interest that is provided by the paper pad and the elements that I'm going to be adding to my cards. So I'm sizing up a couple of circles here. These are the nested circles from Hero Arts. I'm going to size those up and add a couple of those to the remaining 2 cards. So I'm going to take all of this over to my die cutting machine and die cut those elements and bring them back and get ready to start laying out my sentiments and other elements and figure out what configuration I want to do for each card. So now we get to play around with the sentiments as well as the elements. I decided to go in with the sentiments first because I wanted to decide what kind of card each card was going to be. So I've decided to make a birthday card, a hello card, and a kind of a get well card. So I'm going to go through all the sentiments and kind of size them up and figure out which ones I want to use first. Like I said earlier, the sentiments come in scripty font, they come in tags, they come in banners. Like, there are so many amazing elements packed into this little bag of sentiments, and it really stretches a long, long way. Even with the 3 cards that I made, I barely tapped into what all was included in the sentiments as well as the floral die cuts. So now I've kind of gotten an idea, laid out some things of that I think I want to use for each one of the cards, and I'm still kind of rifling through what I pulled out um, of the bags, and I'm gonna still kind of figure out exactly where I want to put a few things. So now that I've picked out, or at least gotten a good start with the elements that I want to use on each card, now I'm going to go in and lay out those elements and figure out exactly how I want them layered on the card. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of figuring out, of course I want the sentiment to be on top and be prominent, but, you know, these die cuts are pretty detailed and they're pretty. And so I want to make sure that I don't cover up too much of that detail, but also get comfortable with covering up some of it. So I'm just going to continue to play around with the arrangement of these die cuts and kind of figure out wherever I want everything to go. Included in the die cut kit are a lot of tiny die cuts that just add a little bit more extra detail to your cards. So I'm going in and placed a couple of those. And now that I'm happy with where everything ends, I'm going to use my press and seal trick to pick up all the elements and allow me to add some liquid adhesive to the back of some of them. I'm going to use the Barely Arts glue on a couple of the elements, and I'm going to stick those down to the card. The ones that I don't use the liquid adhesive on, I don't do that because I want to pop those up. So I'm going to use some foam tape on the back of some of those. I'm also going to make a couple of adjustments and switch some things out as well. That's the beauty of using the press and seal tape, is that, yes, I still have everything in place the way I laid it out, but because I haven't secured everything down, I didn't use the any of the adhesive on anything on those things yet, I can still switch things out. So now I'm going in, I put some foam squares on the back of the flower and on the back of the sentiment. I used one of those banners. And then I glued the hello sentiment to the flower. I'm going to come in with a few more elements of some gold foiled leaves, and that's going to complete the arrangement on that card. So then I'm just going to repeat that same process with the next cards. So this second card is going to be a happy birthday card. We're going to come in with those sentiments. We're going to figure out the arrangement of them, and then I'm just going to add those to the card. That leaf set there is gold foiled, and it really, really adds a lot of beauty to this card. So I've picked up my sentiments there. And this time I decided to pop up that entire arch, colored cardstock arch, to lift it up off the paper. Gluing the sentiment down and in place, and got all of that going. So just going to do the same thing, repeat that process a third time. So you can see how, because you're doing a repetitive process, you're being able to make these cards a whole lot easier than trying to do something new and creative and different with each and every card. So we've got our elements, we're going to lay them down, we're going to figure out the arrangement, we're going to come in with some glue or some foam tape, we're going to pop some things up, and then we're going to have 3 cards made at the end. So I'm coming in with my tool in one, and I'm going to add some of those gemstones around the card. I usually like to use a combination of three, or an odd number. But on one of the cards, I think I just used two of them. There's already a lot going on these cards, even on that third one on the right. The first two have a lot going on in the pattern of the paper. The third one has a lot going on because of that gold foiling that's in the paper, from the paper pad. So you can add, you just want to be mindful that you don't create too much busyness, which is another reason why you want to have some solid cardstock somewhere on your cards so that your eye has a soft and restful place to be. So now that we've created all three cards and everything is secured down to the cards, or to the panels, I'm sorry, we're going to adhere the panels to our card bases. The printed paper from the paper pad is not cardstock weight. It's a little bit thinner than that. So I didn't feel comfortable popping those up with like foam tape or anything. The paper that I'm using for my card bases is Accent Opaque 120-pound weight cardstock. I'll be sure to link that in the description box below, as well as all the products that I'm using today. I decided to add a few finishing touches or embellishments to the card, and with that, all three of these cards are complete. Let's take a closer look at all three of these cards. I absolutely love the gold foiling that is on the elements in these cards, and the elegance that it adds to these designs. If you've used a paper suite to make cards before, leave me a comment below and let me know how you've used them. I want to thank you for joining me for this video today. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, as well as subscribing to the channel. You can always find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Delta Crafter, as well as on my website and blog, thedeltacrafter.com. I'll have a coordinating post on my blog listing all the products used today, as well as in the description box below. Again, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and until next time, everyone, enjoy!